Welcome to round 5 of the Donaldson Cross Country Championship, taking place in Vryburg in the Northwest Province. The second and final endurance race of the season will push the vehicles and the competitors to their limits of the 700-kilometer race distance.
The tight and technical terrain from Malalan is replaced by plenty of sand and rocky outcrops, creating a typical Kalahari route. The championship also welcomed a new manufacturer to the fray, the RFS Motorsport VW Amarok.
Unfortunately, we didn't really have time to test, so we're going to take this as a testing weekend. We don't have anything to lose, so the car feels good, the small amount of time we spent in it, and yeah, we're really looking forward to get back out there.
Well, we're fortunate leading the championship with a nice lead over our teammates and the rest of the field, but we don't worry too much about that. You know, we take each race as a race, just like we do on each stage of the Dakar. So today it's flat out. We're not concerned about the championship at the moment.
Yanez Vermeuren will compete in the Imperial Auto Celebrity Challenge.
I am so excited to be part of this Vryburg Racing Donaldson event. I've never been a navigator before. I'm extremely anxious. I'm not the kind of guy that usually gets nervous, but to do something that's completely unexpected and you don't know what to expect is quite daunting.
Taking a look at the production vehicle standings, Leroy Polt and Rob Howie hold a commanding 44-point lead over defending champs Anthony Taylor and Dennis Murphy, who are the only team who can still challenge for the title.
Janelle de Villiers and Dirk von Zitzewitz were at the event to test their Toyota Hilux ahead of the Dakar Rally in 2016, and this prompted Taylor and Murphy to choose first place on the road for qualifying.
Fortunately, we got Janelle with the Dakar test car, and he'll be obviously the first car. So we will have a little bit of a marker as to see where to go. So we'll see. We'll give it a full go and try and produce the result that we need for the race.
Will the defending champions be able to challenge their teammates? Only time will tell. But with Polt and Howie enjoying such a rich vein of form, it's going to be a tough question to answer. And it didn't help their cause that the championship leaders qualified in first place.
Chris Visser and Jaapie Badenhorst have had the sort of season they would rather forget. The former South African champions won this race last year, and even though they suffered a puncture around 30 kilometers from the start, they still managed to qualify in third place in their Ford Performance Ranger.
After such a promising start to the season, Lance Woolridge and Ward Huxtable have failed to score any points in the last 2 rounds in Botswana and Malalan. But after qualifying in second place, the pair will be optimistic at their chance to score some valuable points in Vryburg.
However, it won't be smooth sailing for the Ford Performance duo, whose teammates were keeping them honest for most of the 200-kilometer qualifying route.
After picking up second place in the previous round, Johan and Van der Horn qualified their fire-breathing Toyota Hilux into fourth place, 10 minutes and 4 seconds behind the leaders.
Making just their second appearance of the season, local crew Malcolm Koch and Johan Berger finished a mere 3 seconds behind the Horn brothers.
Christian Duploy and Henk Janssen van Vuren are also making their first appearance of the season in the eye-catching RFS Motorsport VW Amarok. But the pair did say that they were using the endurance event as a testing ground for their new vehicle.
Unfortunately, new race cars are notoriously fickle, and after picking up a puncture early in qualifying, the Volkswagen Amarok lost 6th gear and then 5th as well before the duo decided to retire the car.
Henny de Klerk and Johan Smallberger were going well until the pair stalled their RFS Treasury 1 BMW X3 and were unable to get their vehicle started. Luckily for them, Marius and Yolinda Fourie in their PHB Toyota Hilux showed off some true sportsmanship and stopped to give de Klerk and Smallberger a quick tow. Once they managed to get their BMW X3 started again, they were able to continue with their race thanks to the Fouries.
Poulter and Howie continued with their impressive form, qualifying in first place ahead of the 2 Ford Performance Rangers. Unfortunately for Taylor and Murphy, they'll have to start at the back of the field after hitting a rock and breaking their right rear wheel.
Following a non-finish for Evan Hutchison and Donnie Stassen at the Kamaz 450 in Mpumalanga last time out, the special vehicle category is delicately poised for an enthralling finish. The motorized racing duo have a slender 17-point lead over Lance Trethui and Jeff Minute in the LTE Bat Venom, while Mark Corbett and Juan Moore in the Century Racing CR5 still have a mathematical shot at the title.
It's not over until it's over. We've got 2 races to go, and let's see how we go. I think we've got to finish the next 2 races. I think that's the key, and have a good result in both races.
In the special vehicle standings, Hutchison and Stassen lead the way and will be hoping that they have solved their electrical problems from the last round. Meanwhile, Jimmy Zaas and Zahir Bodania have moved up into 4th place thanks to their victory last time out.
After damaging the Century CR3's gearbox in a test session, Colin Matthews has switched cars to the CRT.
It's a great package. It's a lovely car to run. We're going to have a lot of fun. There's 3 cars running today. There's another 4 cars that are being built at the workshop now. And it's really a nice, fun car to drive.
Hutchison and Stassen gave the fans a full face of dirt when they got qualifying underway.
Zaas and Badhanya were relishing in the wide-open nature of the route, and the Cobalt Racing striker duo followed up their maiden victory last time out by qualifying in 1st place.
They were closely followed by Trethui and Minute, who qualified in 2nd place, just 1 minute and 4 seconds back.
It was the first time that Corbett and Moore had taken on the Vryburg route, and they were loving every minute of it. Apart from hitting a rock and suffering a puncture as a result just 10 k's into the day, the pair had an exceptional drive to qualify in 3rd.
After a couple of non-finishers, Brett Parker and VZ Van Sale qualified in 4th and were looking to get their season back on track in their Cincinnati Plastics Gymco.
It wasn't the qualifying performance that Hutchison and Stassen were hoping for, and after their GPS stopped working, life became a little more difficult for the motorized racing duo, but they made it work.
In only their 2nd national outing this season, Lawrence and Karin Boysen qualified in 6th place in their Structor Bat Venom.
John Thompson and Maurice Zermatten were 7th overall and the first of the Class P contingent, but the duo were struggling with clutch and alternator problems.
Taking a look at your qualifying results, Zaas and Bodania narrowly claimed top spot ahead of championship contenders Trethui and Minute, while Corbett and Moore rounded off the top 3.
Teams were immediately hard at work straight after qualifying, making sure that their vehicles were in the best shape before the next day's racing.
Today it was flat out all the way. I mean, and if you made a mistake, you were going to pay for it dearly. So, no, it worked out. We were very lucky.
While some teams were lucky, others were not as fortunate, and a very long night's work lay ahead for the mechanics and crew who were forced into making major repairs just to get their cars running.
We had a pretty good prologue. We finished 2nd in the production vehicles. We didn't push too hard. Today was only 1/3 of the whole race, so still a long way to go. I wanted to make sure I got the car home today with not too much work for the guys to do, which we did. I mean, the car's perfect.
The teams were greeted by a beautiful northwest province sunrise, but the weather had changed overnight to slightly cooler and overcast conditions.
Well, it's an endurance race, so it's longer than normal. Yesterday was 200 k's in the time trial. But I think always the thing is to try and get in front as soon as possible. I know there's a lot of dust here, but we'll give it a go.
Taking a quick look at the starting order, Poulter and Howie will lead the field out, followed by the 2 Ford Performance Rangers, while Zaas and Bodhanya will start as the first special vehicle, closely pursued by Trethui and Minute.
And away they go. Will anyone be able to catch Poulter and Howie in the Team Castrol Toyota Hilux, or will they secure the Production Vehicle Championship title with 1 round to spare?
Next off the line, it's the Cobalt Racing striker of Zaas and Bodhanya. Can they make it back-to-back victories for the first time in their cross-country racing careers?
It doesn't look as though Leroy Poulter is going to take it easy and just cruise to the finish. He's going flat out for the victory, not holding back one bit.
There's no time to relax for Zahos and Bodania, who have the narrowest of margins between them and Trithui and Minute.
The LTE Bat Venom needs to keep his nose clean to keep the pressure piled on the championship leaders, Hutchison and Stassen, further down the field.
We go on board the Ford Performance Ranger, and you can witness firsthand just how difficult it is to see through the dust clouds at full speed.
There are some really deep sections of sand along the route, and your concentration levels have to be at 100% to ensure that you don't get stuck.
This camera angle at the rear of the Century Racing CR5 shows you once again just how much dust gets thrown into the air by these vehicles.
Visser and Badenhorst are enjoying one of their best races of the season and are in third place overall.
Another team that is having a great weekend so far is Parker and Van Zyl, even though they decide to take a slightly wider line around this corner, but they are quickly back on track.
On board the Sizanani Plastics Jimco as they fly along the section of the route. Unfortunately, Brett misjudges the corner ever so slightly and just clips this pole. Luckily, they managed to get the car running again, although the knock has given them a flat tyre and they are forced to pull over.
The Horn brothers said they were really loving the fast route, and the pair from Malalan will have to keep their pace up because they're being chased down by Hutchison and Stassen. The motorized Bat Viper is absolutely on the limit and is making light work of the deep sand through this section of the route.
On board with the Special Vehicle Championship leaders. They are pulling off the racing line. Are they having the same problems as in the previous round? Is their race over? Well, luckily it's only a puncture and the pair should be on their way shortly.
Malcolm Karker and Johan Berger are using every little bit of their local knowledge to keep themselves in the hunt for a podium position.
The terrain is constantly changing on the route, and you can see how bumpy it gets over this rocky section, before smoothing out again through the sand.
Well, the Boysons might have missed most of the season, but it really doesn't show as they round off the top 6 in the specials.
Johan van Staden and Mike Lawrenson are one of the few competitors to have finished every race this season in their region racing Nissan Navara.
Freddie and Sune Creel are taking part in Class T for the first time this season and are currently in 8th place.
After they were able to fix their clutch and alternator issues, Thompson and Zamatin are back up to full speed and are first in Class P in their Zarko Magnum.
Well, the weather is changing quite dramatically and it's getting very dark out there. Kutsia and Sandra Labuskachny in the Chem Systems Porter are closely followed by Marius and Jolinda Fourie, who are in first place in Class S in the unmistakable PHB Toyota Hilux.
Second in Class S for vehicles with engines up to 4 litres and solid rear axle suspension, it's Romulo Branco and João Sorodio in the Regent Racing Nissan Navara.
Yanez Vermeeren, co-presenter of the Man Cave magazine program on SABC3 and former top-billing presenter, is navigating for Terence Marsh in the Regent Racing Nissan Navara for the Imperial Auto Celebrity Challenge. The pair are going well in 9th place in Class T.
After missing the last 2 rounds, Andre Fourie and Hendrikus Pinaar are back in action with their awesome livery and the PHB bat.
Yanni Visser and Joks Leroux are making only their second appearance of the season after a late decision to take part in the race.
On board the Ford Ranger of John Persauss and Murray Hines. And John strays slightly off course, and a hidden rock sends the Ford Ranger hurtling into the air. Luckily, the car stays on all 4 wheels, but the Australian duo suffered broken rear suspension, which ended their race.
At the 90-kilometre mark, Poulter and Howie are still leading the way ahead of the two Ford Performance Rangers of Vryburg and Huxtable and Visser and Badenhorst. Meanwhile, in the special vehicle category, Zahos and Bodania are in top spot, followed by Trethewey and Minute, while Hutchison and Stassen hold on to 6th place.
It looked as though nothing can stop the flying Poulter and Howie in their Team Castrol Toyota Hilux, as the pair are completely dominating the competition.
Their victory in the previous round in Malalan has clearly given Zahos and Bodania some great confidence, and the Cobalt Racing striker is still cruising in first place.
The Century Racing CR5 of Corbett and Moore has moved up into second place in the special vehicle category. What has happened to Trethewey and Minute?
Visser and Badenhorst are now leading the Ford Performance charge after passing their teammates, and they are absolutely on the limit around this corner and through the deep sand.
The Ford Performance Ranger of Woolwich and Huxtable has taken some damage on the roof scoop, but it doesn't seem to be affecting their pace much. As we go on board, Ward Huxtable looks pretty relaxed, cruising at high speed over unknown and treacherous terrain. I don't think I'd look that calm.
Well, the only glitch for the Horns this season was their DNF in Heat 2 of the Desert Race, but that's long behind them, and the duo are still in the hunt for a podium finish.
After only appearing in the opening round of the championship, Malcolm Koch and Johan Berger are proving that they are a force to be reckoned with in the Koch & Son Toyota Hilux.
Currently 6th in Class T for vehicles with engines above 4 litres and independent rear suspension, it's Venter and Van Alleman.
The Boysons are putting together a stunning performance in this tough endurance race. But as I say that they are turning around, have they taken the wrong route? Up ahead go Parker and Van Zyl in the Sizanani Plastics Jimco. The Boysons get going again, but they are forced to stop once more. Do they have a problem, and is this the end of their race?
Poulter and Howie are the first to arrive at the designated service point for their compulsory 20-minute stop. The Team Castrol Toyota Hilux is still being hounded by the two Ford Performance Rangers.
It was going really well. We caught up in fast Lance. I think he had a problem. And then I made a stupid mistake and hit a stump and had a puncture. But with that, we lost our spring to hold the jack on, so our puncture took a while getting the jack back on it to make the plan. And then for the last 70 Ks, we've only had rear brakes, so I've been having to use the handbrake all the time, which is slowing down a bit, but we'll fix it now.
Taking a look at the results from the opening loop, Poulter and Howie hold a commanding 12-minute and 10-second lead over Visser and Badenhorst, while Woolwich and Huxtable round off the top 3.
Zahos and Bodania is the first special vehicle to arrive at DSP.
In about 50 Ks in, our accelerator got stuck open and we've been battling with the accelerator. Well, sometimes I'm actually faster, but a lot of times you're overshooting and stuff. So yeah, it's been very interesting. It's been an interesting first session. I hope the guys can sort it so we can get back into a good rhythm.
Mark Corbett and John Moore are next to arrive in their Century Racing CR5.
Recapping Loop 1's results, the Cobalt Racing striker has a narrow 4-minute and 9-second lead over Corbett and Moore, but the big news is that Trethewey and Minute have been forced to retire due to an alternator issue.
Everything seems to be going perfectly for Poulter and Howie, who enjoyed a clean run in the opening loop. The duo only need to finish in 3rd to clinch the Production Vehicle Championship title, but that doesn't mean that they aren't going to go flat out for the victory.
Teams are also required to stop at this refueling point 90 kilometers into the second loop. This is because not all of the vehicles will make it to the finish line on the longer endurance race. Even if you don't need any fuel, all the teams have to stop for the designated time. You are also allowed to work on your vehicle during the stop, but only with tools that you carry in your car and without any outside assistance.
Visser and Badenhorst are giving it everything they've got as their Ford Performance Ranger bounces its way to the refuel point.
Meanwhile, Woolwich and Huxtable take the opportunity to replace a tyre before heading back out on track.
Hutchison and Stassen have made up the minute that they were behind Parker and Van Zyl, and they are now literally on the tail of their opponents. The Cincinnati Plastics gym car frantically trying to unwrap some wire that got caught around their wheel while they were able to do so at the refueling point.
Sandra Labuskaghni is one of 4 female navigators taking part in this event.
I'm actually very dusty. We've been stuck behind a few cars, but as soon as we get clean air, it's nice and fast, and I really enjoy this kind of route.
Recapping the production vehicle standings at the 310-kilometre mark, the Team Castrol Toyota Hilux of Poulter and Howie are still dominating the field, ahead of Visser and Badenhorst and Woolwich and Huxtable.
In the special, Zahos and Bodhanya are holding onto first place ahead of Corbett and Moore, and if Hutchison and Stassen hold station, it'll be enough to secure the Special Vehicle Championship.
Having secured maximum points at all but one race, Poulter and Howie have been unstoppable and are on their way to do the same here in Vryburg.
Mark Corbett and John Moore are now in first place in the Special Vehicle category. What has happened to Zahos and Bodhanya? The fans have come out in their masses to support the competitors along this fast section of the route. On board the Century Racing CR5, who make their way for the quicker production vehicle of Visser and Badenhorst, who are still battling to catch the leaders.
The Horn brothers have moved up into 3rd place in the production vehicle category. Has disaster struck for Woolwich and Huxtable?
The 4x4 Mega World Toyota Hilux of Venter and Van Alleman are now in 4th spot, but there's still no sign of the Ford Performance Ranger.
We go on board with championship leaders Hutchison and Stassen, who are right on the tail of Parker and Van Zyl. The Cincinnati Plastics Gymco heeds to the pressure and moves over for the speeding motorized Bat Viper.
Van Staden and Lawrenson have been staying out of trouble and are in 5th place in Class T.
Well, we've just heard that Zahos and Bodhanya have been forced to retire. What bad luck for Cobalt Racing striker. Meanwhile, Kutsia and Sandra Labuskaghni are now in 4th place in their Chem Systems Porter after they managed to overtake Lawrence and Karin Boysen.
Andre Ferry and Hendrikus Pina are flying in their PHB Bat, and they round off the top 6 in the specials.
Well, it's been confirmed that Woolwich and Huxtable have been forced to retire with a broken side shaft. Meanwhile, Marsh and Vermeeren are cruising in 6th place in the Regent Racing Nissan Navara, and Vermeeren could equal the best result in the Celebrity Challenge this season if they can hold on.
After breaking their right rear wheel in qualifying, Taylor and Murphy had to begin their day from the back of the pack in the mass start. But this hasn't slowed down the defending champions, who are still carving their way through the field.
Disaster has struck once more for the Ford Performance team. Visser and Badenhorst are out of the race following a broken shaft in their gearbox. Meanwhile, Gareth Woolridge and Boyd Dreyer are still in the hunt for some decent points.
The battle in Class S will be going down to the final race, with Branko and Suradio holding on to 2nd place, ahead of championship leaders Heinz Strumpfer and Henry Hiku.
Thompson and Zamatin are in full control in Class P and 6th overall in their Zarko Magnum, even though they lost their roof along the way.
But the day belonged to Leroy Poulter and Rob Howie, who take the win and claim their maiden production vehicle championship title with 1 round to spare.
And this year was fantastic. You know, the car was brilliant. Rob did a great job, and the team just prepared a magnificent car.
Recapping your final results, Poulter and Howie cruise to victory ahead of the Horn brothers, while Venter and Van Alleman round off the podium. Taylor and Murphy fought valiantly up into 5th place.
In the production vehicle standings, Poulter and Howie take home the title with 1 round to spare, as they boast an unassailable 62-point lead, ahead of Team Castrol Toyota teammates Taylor and Murphy.
Mark Corbett and Johan Moore crossed the finish line first in the special vehicle category, claiming a maiden success for the Century Racing CR5.
Yeah, it was a great result for us. It was hard fought for. We started the day 3rd overall, managed to fight our way back into the lead. It was a great result for us before Dakar. It's a very important test. So now we wash the car, prep it again and ship it off. So.
As for the final results, Corbett and Moore enjoyed their first win of the season, followed by Hutchison and Stassen, while Parker and Vincel came home in third.
In the special vehicle standings, Evan Hutchison and Donnie Stassen wrap up the championship with 1 round in hand. Corbett and Moore move up into second place overall, ahead of Trethuri and Minute.
In the Imperial Auto Celebrity Challenge, Yanez Vermeuren is level on points with DJ Fresh after finishing the race in a respectable 6th place.
Because there's such a great camaraderie between all the drivers. Everyone's in it to just have fun. If guys are stopped on the side of the road, everyone acknowledges what's going on. If guys need to be pulled out, they pull each other out. It's a great event. It's the best motoring event I've ever been to, and I love it.
Congrats to Sandra Labuschagne, who has been selected for a cross-country initiative run by the FIA Women in Motorsport Commission and the Qatar Motor and Motorcycling Federation.
I'm absolutely ecstatic about being selected. I think it's a great opportunity. I think it's really an opportunity where I can use to improve my skills as a co-driver. I will be improving our skills on navigation, dune driving, GPS and navigation, compass navigation. And I think it's going to be quite a challenge for me to adapt from the South African conditions we used to in our cross-country championship to dune driving over there. But I must say I'm quite excited about it, and I think it's a challenge that I'm looking forward to.
Don't miss the final round of the Donaldson Cross Country Championship at the end of October as the teams head to the West Rand in Gauteng with the Atlas Copco Gold 450.
Donaldson Filtration Systems, a market leader in filtration solutions for the past 100 years.